Hello everyone, welcome back. This is the February watercolor palette for 2025. I'm really excited about this one because it is Valentine's themed. Don't you love this Loving Hearts palette? Have you received it yet? Because if you haven't, you're in for a treat. I think this one evokes the feelings of warmth, of tenderness, but also that inspiration, that passion for art, because the palette allows artists to create beautiful paintings with some really, really special colors that you probably haven't thought to put together before. The use of like really romantic pink kind of tones with reds and purples and a gorgeous sunflower with a wedgwood is something that you will be so inspired by and hopefully want to paint with often. There's also a metallic in this kit, and I can't wait to show it to you, but let's start swatching the first few colors. So starting out, of course, I love the yellow. Sunflower is one of my favorite yellows. This one is made with PY3, which is a lemon yellow, but this specific pigment has a lot more warmth in it. It has been sourced and especially for us, and I'm very excited about it because I got a bunch of it to make sunflower yellow and also sunflower orange, especially for this kit. You are going to have a real treat because if you've ever painted with my daffodil colors, you will love these. And I think you will want to order them long term because they are just going to take you so far through so many unique mixes coming into spring and summer. Sunflower orange is also a kind of next level on this momentum of the PY3. It is really warm, really tender, and you can mix even a little more red in it, as I'm going to show you coming up, to get a little more brightness. You can also mix carmine in it or my quinacridone rose, and you will love the different colors and tones that come with either sunflower yellow or sunflower orange mixed with all of those beautiful reds and pinks from my watercolor line. Here's the rose red. This is a PR48, which is much different than my previous reds from last year. If you've ever painted with this one, I think you'll know that it is truly a gorgeous pigment. It's very vibrant. It has a lot of amazing qualities to it, and it's kind of like a staining but semi-staining moderately dark value. You can really build up the intensity of it, and I love that about this. It does really well with mixes, and it's a lot more light fast than any other PR48 that I've ever found because it is a special PR48, and I only got recently the ability to purchase it, and I wanted to try it because typically some of the older PR48s were a little more fugitive, meaning they fade over time or in bright sun, but this one does not, and it really holds up well in the mixes as far as pigmentation. Plus, as you know, it is double the pigment of any other watercolor with no fillers and organic binder. All right, so let's just talk about these blues, shall we? They are stunning, right? We have a Wedgwood blue, which is a different shade from my ultramarine, but has a lot of the same characteristics as far as mixing, and a peacock blue that has that vibrancy that you typically only see in maybe like phthalo colors. This is just a stunning, stunning color to have. Now, in a watercolor palette, as far as mixing, both of those have amazing mixing capabilities. So you're going to be able to do like multi-shaded hearts. You're going to be able to mix this palette on paper very easily. You can take the peacock and actually save a mix. So if you feel like any of your mixes have ever kind of needed a nice little turnaround, you can take the peacock and use it to do that. Metallic wine is the metallic of the day. I love this one. Of course, we had to use this one, right? Because it is so perfect for the Loving Hearts watercolor palette. I think it's going to be so stunning. You can use it alone or as a layer, which I'm going to show you in these next couple of tutorials that we're going to do today. I have my ceramic mixing palette ready to go, and also this beautiful watercolor brush that you received in your kit. Everybody receives one of 5 different sizes that I split up among all of the subscribers. So I hope you enjoy it. And if you want more, they're over on the website at Jack's Watercolor. And that's Misty. She just walked in and she wants some attention. For our first tutorial, we're going to be doing a loving hearts branch. This is perfect for a card if you want to make, or it would be so charming just framed on a wall with a really nice saying underneath it, something reminding you to keep love in your life. I'm going to be using the metallic wine as the base of our tree trunk so that we have something very glimmery that's going across the page. And this is the Jack's Cotton watercolor paper. I'm really excited because everybody has Jack's Cotton in their watercolor subscription this month, so that is truly exciting. So taking the edge of your brush, I'm just loading it with the metallic watercolor and using one of my clips to keep the watercolor paper flat so that as it gets wet, it won't kind of, bend or do its thing. And this also kind of weights my paper down so that it doesn't slide around from my hand. Ah, look at that wine. It's so pretty. I could use this every single day, and I'll be doing a lot of metallics coming up in spring. So the great thing about this watercolor brush is you can load it with quite a bit of water and pigment and still have a nice thin line available to you. As you can see, I'm not switching to a fine liner to do these little tree branches. I'm just using the tip of the brush. So it's got a nice beautiful point. I think I sent enough of the medium to smaller sizes out to you guys so that everybody has the ability to do some finer lines, and then you can also do heavier trunks with just going over it a few times. But I think you'll really enjoy this brush and having it as part of your art supply case, especially coming up for the botanical season in spring and summer. I know I'll be using it in all the sizes so crazy because it is just a beautiful brush. I feel like this one lasts a bit longer than the Princeton Aqua Elite as well, because I had some fraying going on the edges of those, but only after a tremendous amount of use. I mean, I tend to have a brush and paint with it every day for a while, and kind of either is going to last and hold its point, or I'm going to beat it up. But I do tend to do a lot of rubbing and scrubbing, and I'm not really easy on my brushes. I really do paint, you know what I mean? But I'm kind of just going through, and in some areas I'm making the branches a little thicker. Now, the trick to this, if you're going to watch this first through before you paint, is you want to kind of see where you want to put the hearts, and keep in mind that you don't want to be covering the branches. So you want to leave some areas where the hearts can sit close to the branches, and then also leave some areas where they can dangle down. Because if you don't leave enough space, you have to actually cover some branches with watercolor. And if you wanted to put like yellow there, or a light pink, or a lighter color, you would either have to rub in the metallic into it, or you would have to try and get it thick enough. And I find that that is a little bit of a pain, right? Especially if you haven't thought this one forward. So if you want to start with the branch like I am, just make sure that you kind of design the branch in a way that leaves some areas of the hearts. Now, if you visually can't figure that out, you could do it with pencil first, just marking a little area of where the hearts are going to go, or you can go ahead and paint your hearts in first. So it depends on, in your mind as an artist, what you see. If the vision is hearts first, put the hearts in first. If the vision is trunk first with the branches, then do that. I just have a vision for the hearts sitting on the page, and so I was able to do the trunk around it and still know where I was going to put them. Now, if you've ever painted hearts, I know without a template, it can be a little tricky, but I have a great way to paint hearts. I actually start with 2 little round circles, fill those in, and then I do 1 long spike coming down from that circle, like a little branch, and then I just join the sides. Now, if you wanted a heart that leaned in any one direction, you would curve the side that you wanted it to lean, and that would make the heart a little twisted, a little bit different. So it depends. If you want one of those kissing hearts, then you would just tilt that center a little bit and then curve the lower portion of the heart that you want to go in the direction. And I'll be showing you how to do that upcoming soon. So right now I'm just going to be putting in my hearts, leaving some areas for string, and trying to see where I can go a little bit bigger in the hearts and where I'm going to go a little bit smaller in the hearts. But again, 2 round circles, fill them in, join them in the center, and just go down with one line and just start painting that out. And you will get such an easy heart without having to go through templates or, do so many crazy things to get the hearts lined up perfectly. I've been doing them this way for so long, I can't even remember, but it's always been an easy way for me to manipulate hearts leaning in one direction or another just by starting with those 2 round circles. There is a little bit of a learning curve to it though, so just be patient and know that you'll get there eventually. Don't be hard on yourself. It just takes a little bit of time. So what colors are you guys going to choose for your hearts this year? I can think of so many things that you can do, and this is actually a wonderful opportunity for you to learn to mix color. So go through and add your hearts in the basic colors first from the palette. That way you kind of get a feel for the strength of all the colors before you start to mix them together. And what this does is already gets the solid colors onto your palette. And then as you do this, you can start mixing choices together a little bit, maybe even on the paper. You don't actually have to get out another palette to mix with. You could mix them right in with the hearts, especially the way that I'm doing the hearts with filling in the circles, because that will ultimately mix a lot of the color together and it will look pretty cool. Now, if your hearts are really small, then you would want to pre-mix your color as you go through because it'll be a little more difficult. But once we have all of the base colors in our watercolor palette, it won't be really hard to just tint it in one direction or another. And I'll go through that with you in just a minute as we proceed forward with this tutorial. Don't forget that your tree can be so many different shapes. It can be vertical, it can be horizontal, you can do multiple trees. You could even add some additional things like maybe a pot and have your branches coming out like a philodendron, like a pothos or something, and let the hearts dangle as the leaves. There's so many ideas for this one watercolor tutorial that I really encourage you to do several of them and just enjoy, because after all, this is a great way to use metallics. It's a great exercise in mixing, and it's going to teach you just how to be a little more spontaneous with the placement of random, right? Because the idea behind this whole art piece here is just random hearts, showing love, joining in, and just acknowledging that this month is all about having a passion for things that you love, whether it be people or animals or your artwork or whatever it is that feeds your soul. Because it's more than just a relationship month. It is really a celebration of so much more than that. I've always looked at Valentine's Day like it was something to celebrate just the joy of life, right? The love for life and all that goes along with that, because there's so many few things, I would say, that are themed this way, that make us acknowledge that we do have tenderness and warmth and passion and love in our hearts and our life, even if there isn't a significant other still there. Your memories, the things that you go through on a daily basis, there can be inspiration. And Valentine's for me is all about that inspiration. It is so good to remind yourself of that and know that you are loved no matter what. And just let that month spread through you and inspire hearts all the way through, because you are very appreciated and very loved here. I also feel like this is the month that leads us into spring. And as a result, there's snow on the ground, there's a lot of rain, there are different changes happening throughout February. I'm already sowing my seeds and setting up my grow machines and doing all kinds of fun things that you're going to see on the channel coming up. I'm planning my patio and getting all of the furniture in and things that I want to do to set up a beautiful outdoor space to paint this year. And I'll be doing that all on video so you can see it. But what I love about this time of year is that, the holidays are over. And even though winter seems to be a little bit long, I feel like the watercolor has really taken us through that. February is a month where we can kind of take a breath, slow down, and get ready for that next season of renewal, that rejuvenation. It comes with the changing of the seasons. So even though I feel like I don't get much sleep in this month, I feel like the world comes alive with color right now because I'm preparing for the next month already. And everything that I'm thinking about right now is just about vibrant colors and what's coming out and what I'm going to be making in watercolor and what I'm going to be painting. So as you can tell in my tutorials, I'm already starting to bloom with the flowers, and I've got chirping birds around me, and I really have that moment in time that I can embrace as the outdoors move closer to me, and I am going to be so excited about that. I can say, though, that my nature walks have continued despite the weather, and it has been really fun just kind of looking around and looking at trees and looking at nature and thinking about, how different each season is and how it kind of prepares for the next, I think we take it for granted, but in any case, it's been pretty mild here in Canada, if you can believe that. I'm in the region of Ontario, and it's really nice because we kind of have the best of both worlds. We have a gorgeous warm summer, a cool spring, and a cool winter, but as with the exception of this past week, it hasn't really been that freezing cold. It has been mostly pretty mild. The mild temperature and the long days are coming, though, full force, because after this little snow cap that we have, and mind you, I am collecting snow for rainwater like crazy right now, so it's not a bad thing. It also cleans off my patio and prepares for the next season, so that's also good. It's a perfect opportunity, though, to engage in outdoor activities as we go through winter with my huskies and also head into spring, which gets even more fun. Wait until you see the crazy flowers that pop up in my neighborhood as spring comes. It is different every single day. So I'm definitely out there taking pictures, and I, of course, share that with my group. But anyway, I have hope, growth, and promise for the brighter days ahead. I hope you guys are enjoying yourself painting and enjoying the tutorials. So as we mix these colors together, don't forget, you want to take some of the red and mix it with the blue, some of the yellow and mix it with the blue, and those will make some nice shades of oranges, some wine shades, and some green. Then you can take peacock and you can mix it in with pretty much anything and get a really, really cool mixture. That's that, like, I want to save the world watercolor, so like everything you mix, you can pretty much mix the peacock into it and it will give you something beautiful and not something muddy. So it's just a matter of, using it. I have another watercolor in my line that's very similar, just a bit, I think, more green, and that one is called Lagoon. It acts much in the same way. So if you're looking for two watercolors that are so great to have in any palette, I would say these are the first two I would definitely invest in because they save every single mixture. You will never waste paint with either Lagoon or Peacock in your watercolor palette. So I'm mixing peacock into the center just to get some more colors, and tone them. I can also take a red and mix it into this peacock mixture. I can mix more yellow into it if I want to turn it more into like a sap green kind of way, or like hunter greens or mossy greens. You can also add a little bit of the orange in there if you want to go more neutral shades. Just go slowly so that you can see all the different beautiful colors you get. Because there's so many in that direction that will surprise you. And again, if you want to add more of the red, you can do that, and that will just turn it. If you add more of the Wedgwood in it, that will also give you a little more color in the blue sector, and I think you'll really enjoy all of those different colors that come out as well. Again, at the end of any mixture, you can add a little bit of the orange to it and see what you get. And that's going to give you, sure, more muted and neutral tones, but still kind of really fun, right? Now remember, if you see any colors that you mix along the way that you like, don't forget to swatch them out and note how you got there so that you can mix them again for another watercolor art project. You know, maybe you want to do a monochromatic heart or a mixture of different colors leading to the new color that you like in a heart, kind of like a tie-dye effect. There's so many things to do. You can also do flower-shaped, like hearts on the top of flower stems, which would be a really pretty project as well. And of course, the cover photo for our watercolor subscription is that beautiful loving heart with the different scene inside of it. And I have a couple of those coming up for you in tutorials this month as well. Shall we check in with budgies and see what they're doing since they are chirping in the background?
Got her kale and her carrots and her veggies. She loves those. And Pace is always right next to her. Hey, Pace. It's just me. You want to get some millet? Come on. Yeah. Pace, you want some? Anybody hungry? Yeah, Teal's always hungry. Hi, Teal. Good boy. Pace. Pace, want some? Good boy. Good boy. Sunshine, you want some? Yeah, Pace. Teal's following me around. Teal. Go ahead, Sunshine, get some. Good girl.
Okay, now that we've checked in with the budgies, let's finish off our beautiful painting. We're going to do a little bit of script writing in the metallic wine. And another good use of this brush. I don't know if you've ever tried it, but if you start out with a very thin line and then just add a little bit of pressure as you drag your tip across paper, you can get that calligraphy look. It's just a matter of pressure and then lifting out. So you might want to practice on a scrap sheet of paper, just kind of doing one letter at a time, starting with a very thin, light line, adding a little pressure as you go through a loop, and then, you know, lightening up. So as you add pressure, that's where the thicker areas are going to be. And as you lift up your hand and take the pressure away, go back to that thin point, that's where the thin areas are going to be. It's really quite simple and easier than you think. I think it just takes a little time and practice to get your hand used to the motion. I find that anything new that I'm doing, it's a matter of like muscle training. You know, all the little muscles in my hand have to get used to the pressure and what I want to do and the flow of it, whether it be a flick of a wrist or a twist or, you know, a rotation of fingers. That all just takes a little time to train. So just practice. They say anything you practice 45 times is eventually going to stick. So even training my dogs or my birds, anytime I lose my patience, I think I've just got 46 times to go and then it'll be there. They'll do it. And you know what? It works pretty much 100% of the time. So give that a try and I think you will be absolutely fine. And that's the end of this tutorial for today. I have more tutorials on this palette coming up for you. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to paint like crazy, share it online, and I can't wait to see your tags at Jack's Art Challenge to enter to win some free gift cards from my watercolor store. All the things that you saw here are available at jackswatercolor.com. And if you want to receive this palette, then all you have to do is sign up for a subscription and you'll get the next one moving forward. I design new ones every single month and make all the watercolor for you. I hope you guys have a lovely day. Enjoy painting this week. And remember, love in your heart. You have to remember to do that because nobody else will do that for you. And you can fully control how you think, how you feel, and what happens to you every single day just by changing your mind. God bless you. I will talk to you again soon.